Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game, and it's the preview of the first Premier League game as West Ham United travel to Stamford Bridge to take on Chelsea in Conte's first game in charge over there. It's a transfer window. West Ham have been busy. There may or may not be a couple of additions to our squad. Hammers Chat have also been busy as well. We've made our own signing, so let's go over to our newest recruit. We've got Holly with us. Holly, what do you think of Chelsea's chances for the title, and welcome to Hammers Chat.
Hello, how are you doing? So, I reckon it could be a really interesting game, actually. I liked what I saw of Conte in the Euros, managing Italy. He looks like he knows how to organise a team defensively, which should make things interesting. If Hazard plays like he did in the Euros and towards the end of last season, then I reckon he could definitely be one to watch throughout the season.
Tom, do you agree with that? What do you make of Conte's appointment? Do you think that's what Chelsea need after last season?
I think it is. It's almost a bit of fresh air from Mourinho and what they've had the last few years, and he'll bring a different style to the Bridge that they've not seen before. Gonzo mentioned in the preview for Chelsea the other day that he brings a very defensive style. He has a set system that he's used wherever he's gone with the 3-5-2, and it will be a new look Chelsea. And I think with some of the signings that they made, especially with no Europe next year, that they'll be a force to reckon with.
Holly, let's touch on those two signings, the two big ones they made, Batshuayi and Conte. Are you impressed with those signings, or do you think Chelsea need to do a little bit more in order to challenge?
I reckon that Conte was definitely a great signing for them. I don't think Leicester could have won the league without him. Batshuayi, I reckon he could definitely do really well as well. He could probably score on his debut against us, seeing as we wanted to sign him. So I think they're both two good signings. I'm not sure if they could have done more, but I reckon they're definitely going in the right direction to change. Obviously, they finished 10th last season, so they needed to do something.
Tom, do you agree with that, or do you think they still need to make one last signing in order to really push? Because the two Manchester clubs have been busy, but Chelsea's two signings, while impressive, relatively quite quiet.
I think it is. United and City both have made a statement this summer with the players they've gone out to buy, and they've really improved themselves. And I think probably the last position that Chelsea need to look at is another centre-back. Don't forget Terry's getting on. Zuma was injured with a horrible injury last season, and they'd looked horrible last year at the back. And I'm really surprised that Conte hasn't gone for an Italian defender yet, specifically Bonucci. And I think maybe, depending on how the first few games of the season go, there's still a lot of time left in this window, that he might go out and try and pick up a centre-back. And I think that was the area that they needed improving most after the season that they just had, but they've strengthened in other areas. So I think they're probably maybe one or two defensive signings away from really pushing for the title next year, especially after losing John Stones to Manchester City earlier today.
Tom, last word quickly on Chelsea's transfers. Are you surprised he maybe didn't look at Ogbonna, since he knows him pretty well? He can play left back as well, which Chelsea are struggling in right now.
Maybe, yes. I mean, there's a few players that I'm surprised he's not looked at yet. Ogbonna could be one, of course, with Juventus and Italy. But I don't think it really matters who he goes for. I think at the end of the day, it will probably be an outstanding, probably more than likely an Italian centre back. And I think whoever they go for, they'll have enough cash to splash out and make sure that whoever they're going to bring in is going to make the difference straight away.
Holly, do you think Stamford Bridge is going to be a very difficult place to go this season? Last season, it was kind of like you were going to the circus, wasn't it? It was a bit, everybody went there with a bit of confidence, a bit like Old Trafford has been the last few years. You went there confident you could take something from Chelsea. Do you think it'll be the same this season, or do you think it's going to be back to what it was under the old age of Mourinho, where you'd gladly take a point?
It is true. I think we definitely don't want to lose in the first game of the season. So as much as we might be okay with 1 point, obviously we're going to be fighting for 3. It could be a difficult match. So perhaps the 1 point would be kind of what we were aiming to leave at least with. But I'm not expecting it to be the easiest of games.
Tom, one-word answer. Would you take a point right now?
Yes.
Right, our referee at Stamford Bridge is Anthony Taylor. He's a name that everybody's going to cringe at, but he's not that bad a referee for West Ham. Yes, he refereed the 2-1 loss against Leicester, where he could have and probably should have gave a penalty against Schmeichel when he clotheslined Sacco. However, last season we also won 2-0 against Newcastle. He was in charge when we got thrashed 4-1 at White Hart Lane, but then he was back in charge at Upton Park when we beat Wolves 1-0, and when we had that famous victory over Everton at Goodson Park, where we came from behind to win 3-2. Chelsea, however, had him 3 times last season, and they didn't win once with him the referee. They lost in the Community Shield against Arsenal, they lost at Stoke, and then they drew at home to West Brom. So Anthony Taylor could be a shining light for West Ham. Now, Tom, are you confident heading to Stamford Bridge on Monday?
I will be, as long as Antonio isn't playing right back come next Monday night. I think after Ayew signed the other day, or yesterday even, that I'm feeling a lot more confident now. And after Masuaku signed as well, I think we've all been crying out for a new left back, and hopefully that Sam can move over to the right back spot. So if we can get ourselves sorted defensively, I will be very happy. But if Antonio is there at right back, a new look Eden Hazard this season, he's going to have Antonio on toast for 90 minutes.
Well, as Holly mentioned at the start of the show, she's worried about that as well. Holly, what back four are you hoping Bilic puts out?
So, in my back four, I have Byram as right back. Finally, an actual right back rather than popping Antonio in there. I've got Ogbonna and Collins in centre. Collins has been looking really strong. I think we really missed him as well when he was injured, so I think I'm going to definitely keep him in the back four. Masuaku for his debut, see how he does. That is my back four, and I'm going to have Adrian in goal. It was around a 50-50 whether I chose him or Randolph. Although he can make mistakes, I definitely think that he's proven that he is reliable, and that we could definitely use him in this game against Chelsea.
Well, actually, that's a very good point. I completely missed our goalkeeper situation there. Tom, are you agreeing with Holly there with that back five?
I think so, yeah. Either Reed or Collins. I think someone needs to be strong, especially if Chelsea have got two strikers, and he does deploy the 3-5-2 system to have a big couple of centre-backs, and James Collins is that, and Calamity James really made a mistake last season. So, I mean, I'd be happy as long as Ogbonna is there, Byram and Masuaku are at the wing-back spots, then I'm comfortable. But for goalkeeper, I've been saying it ever since last season, since the first tag I did way back in January. I want Randolph as number one. I do love Adrian. He is a fan favourite, but I just think overall I prefer Randolph in goal. He makes me feel comfortable and not stress every time that he comes to collect a ball. So as far as the back four go, I'd keep it like what Holly was alluding to, and goal will be Randolph.
Well, Holly, you've clearly done your homework. You've got your team written out there. Take us through your midfield then.
So, defensive midfielders, I've got Noble and Kouyaté there. Nordvigt's difficult to drop, but I couldn't drop Noble either. And Kouyaté looked great against Domzale, so I reckon he's definitely one to keep in there as well.
And what about your attacking midfielders? I think this is where Bilic has got a headache. That three in behind, well, the striker, depends who you're playing up front, I suppose. Who's your attacking midfielders?
I've got Faguli, left winger. He's looking strong. I've got Ayew, centre attacking midfield. I'd possibly go as far as hoping that he would score. And Antonio, right winger. I think he's definitely a better right winger. And then I'd have Payet on the bench. I don't think that Bilic will play him for a full 90 minutes at the moment. And obviously we've got him in our armoury to bring on if we need to. And then I'd have Carroll up front.
Tom, thoughts on that, please? Are you agreeing with that, or are you making changes?
Only with the midfield. I do think that with the likes of Conte, Fabregas, and whoever else holds the other centre mid position down, I do think we have to go three in the middle. And I would be inclined to have Nordvight playing in behind the back four just to add a sense of security. I thought he was excellent the other day against Domzale when he played. Kouyaté, Noble, also obviously you can't drop them. I think this is where we have the headache now, as you said. It's going to be so difficult choosing between who goes up in the front three now. Knowing with what Bilic is going to do, Antonio will be at right back, so that leaves the other spots, and I think that Ayew will be on the left. I think Faguli will potentially be on the right, and Andy Carroll will be up top. And I wouldn't mind Carroll up top because the one area that Chelsea struggle with at the minute is defensively, and I think Carroll has been good this pre-season, and I think he'll be raring to go for Chelsea. So I think if we can get Carroll in there to muscle about and be the bully boy that we know he can be, with Ayew's delivery and Faguli's delivery, I think we could cause problems.
Yeah, I agree with yourself, Tom. I think he's going to keep Antonio right back. He's clearly stubborn about it. It's not what any of us want to see, but I think it's what's going to happen. And therefore, I think Feghouli and Ayew will play in behind Andy Carroll. Um, I hate seeing us play three centre midfielders. However, it did work against Dumzali probably for the first time that I've witnessed it work. But it's worked, and I hate that it worked because I've sat here slagging off non-stop last season, and then finally clicked into position. But it just goes to show maybe once Slav gets his personnel in and he can get players that play his way, it will work. Now, before we move on to the big question, before these two, make sure you check out our forum over at hammerschat.com. You've heard all our thoughts around the game, so give us your ones as well. Make sure you subscribe as well to our channel here at Hammers Chat. Also, our channel should have a pretty big announcement for us coming out at the end of the week or the start of next week. Tom, I'm going to put you on the line first. Holly's a newbie. She can relax a wee second. Tom, put your neck on the line. What is your score prediction for Monday night?
I said yes to being happy with the point, and I think a point is what we're going to get. I think that whereas Chelsea are going to be strong, I think, on Monday night, I think they could also struggle defensively. But the one thing we have to realise, I think that Stamford Bridge is going to be a fortress this season because they will slip back when they've scored a goal and they will play defensively. And I can see us not losing, but I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to go a 2-2 draw.
Holly, it's your first time on the show. A bit of pressure on you. We're not very good at score predictions, or actually, Gonzo's not very good at score predictions, but he's on holiday. Holly, what's your score prediction for Monday night, please?
I'm also going to be optimistic. I'm going to say 2-1 to West Ham, with Ayew to score on his debut. I think while Chelsea are a little bit weak in defence, we could have the opportunity to slip through there and take the lead. And I'm going to be optimistic and hope that we do 2-1.
I'm gonna go for a West Ham win as well. I'm gonna say 1-0. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a very boring game, but I just think hopefully Conte hasn't had long enough with his team yet, and I think Ayew's gonna have a. I think Ayew's coming here with a point to prove. After not coming to us last summer, I think he's got a bit of fire in him when he's coming here, and he's had a full pre-season with Swansea. He's played well pre-season with Swansea, and I don't know. I just think he's going to be an absolute diamond, and I think he's going to kick-start his West Ham career at Stamford Bridge. But you at home, what do you think? Let us know on our forum. Let us know on our YouTube comments. We'll be back straight after the Chelsea game with our live review, so you can tune in and watch it live. So keep your eyes on that. But Holly, thank you very much on your debut over at Hammers Chat. That's been Tom, as always, the away day specialist. I've been Gio. We've been Hammers Chat. Thank you very much for watching.